back for more Autistic History and the Autism Wars. This is part 7. So let's recap the first Autism War that seems to have established so many of the patterns we're used to seeing today in our autistic activism. So first we had 3 different researchers who had 3 different ideas about the source of autism and 3 different ideas about the cure for autism. We have 3 different publications, one for each of these doctors or researchers. We have 3 different very controversial ideas about autism and their cures. So for all 3 of these doctors, their ideas are controversial. Keep that in mind. We have an uprising of parents who are rightfully angry about Bruno Bettelheim's idea of recovering or curing these children because it included removing these children from their parents and putting them into institutions for probably the rest of their life, right? So it's horrible. So these parents rise up and they join with Bernard Rimland and Ivar Lovaas because these guys are telling them, we understand this, we know how to help you, we can find the cure, and it doesn't involve removing your children from you, and it doesn't involve heaping stigma upon your head that makes people think you're horrible parents when this is not the case at all. We also have a dark side of this with Bettelheim and his nickname being Bruno Bettelheim. Lots of dark problematic abusive history in this with his patients. Now, I haven't spoken about it yet about the other 2, but Ivar Lovaas and Bernard Rimland, not mentioned right now, but they are also very problematic in treatment for autistics as well, but we will get to that in the future because it shows up in a different way. So we are in the 60s and 70s here. This is the very first that I can see autism wars that happen in the manners that we are seeing today that include researchers, parents, autistics, professionals, and parents. Did I mention parents? The importance of parents and their activism in this era is highly instrumental because in this era, about only 1 in 5 kids who are disabled or have a disability are going to school. The rest aren't allowed. And in many states, they excluded children who were deaf, blind, emotionally disturbed, or had an intellectual disability. So that means the right for education hadn't even started yet. This doesn't come into place, I think, until 1975. So the landscape these parents are navigating is vastly different than today. They are fighting for every tiny thing that they can do to help improve the outcome of their children's lives and their lifespans. And if these kids were able to go to school, they were most likely segregated from the other children in the classroom. So when you hear people say, we never saw these kids when we were growing up, that's because if an autistic child requires something like a 504 plan or an IEP, they literally were not in your classroom. So no, you didn't see them, but we existed. We existed. So we also see in this era the Autism Society of America being founded by Bernard Rimland and Ivar Lovaas, and that charity or organization is still with us today. And this really illustrates the power of a researcher who has an idea about the cause and cure for autism, not proven, just an idea that they are getting out there and lobbying support from and getting these parents to buy into these ideas of their cause and cure and matching them up in such a powerful way where they're all working together. Things start happening. This pattern we see it today. If these doctors or researchers or parent researchers did not have the answer, they just had an idea that they wanted to research more to prove or disprove their idea. What exactly were the parents getting out of this? Hope. These autism researchers and professionals were offering hope, and hope is so powerful. Hope for a better future, hope for their child to maybe not be disabled. This era, they don't see a life for disabled people really being anything at all because of society's current standards, right? Hope, 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 and more hope. Hope is a powerful thing. Powerful. So the parents are getting hope. They are getting community, because the autism community is born in this era with this uprising of parent advocates with Bernard Rimland and Ivar Lovaas. And these researchers get out of these parents, well, they are believed and they are able to generate attention and interest using these parents, and they're able to influence money for research, because in order to be able to research the things that they want to research for autism, that takes a lot of money. Lots and lots and lots of money. And these researchers with these parents were an incredibly powerful force working together. So they were able to have a voice now for the first time. Maybe it felt like, to be able to influence legislation and other types of support and needs for their kids and education and things like that. So these researchers had very different ideas about what cause and cure would be for autism, and they were also fighting for money for their research. So if they were able to discredit or be louder than another one, then they would benefit. So you have Bettelheim, who disagrees with Ivar Lovaas on behaviorism, and Ivar Lovaas is what, the pioneer of behaviorism as we know it today. Anyhow, Bettelheim bluntly equated behaviorists with murderous authoritarians and roundly condemned them all. So you can see his opinion of Ivar Lovaas' work is not positive at all. Nope. And Ivar Lovaas did not support the psychogenic theory of autism that was Bettelheim's approach. Now, the power of parents is getting really well established here, and it's so well established in this first rule that you see in a book in 1991. The book Toxic Psychiatry by Peter Breggin was published, and it says in his book that the psychogenic theory of autism was abandoned because of political pressure from parents' organizations, not scientific reasons. You see what this established? Let me say it again. This theory was abandoned because of political pressure from parents' organizations, not for scientific reasons. Now, this is an issue or a foreshadowing for autistic activists who do rise up into a civil rights movement very soon. Actually, right around the 90s or the late 80s. Most of all, Bettelheim's work was discredited after his death as being plagiarized. He didn't even have the qualifications or the degrees that he said that he had. So Yeah, this is bye-bye Bettelheim, at least here in the United States.